Are we gearing up to see a player trade involving these two Dortmund players? And what is the future surrounding Kendry Paez for next season? We got a lot to break down. We got a lot to unpack. Sit back, relax, and let's break down today's Chelsea reports. Are we getting an early indicator behind Kendry Paez's future for next season? Well, French reports have spotted Paez taking training sessions with Strasbourg under Liam Rosenau. It seems like there is the potential that Paez could be finding himself with Strasbourg for next season, but we can't get too carried away because the main context behind why he's there is to continue his adaptation process with the football club. As we've known, he spent a month with us with Maresca in London already, and I think it makes sense for him now to spend some time working under Rosenau at Strasbourg. This way, it allows him to acclimatize to Europe. It allows him to acclimatize to the rigors of European football and our way of playing due to the stylistic similarities between Strasbourg and ourselves. For you keen guys who are addicted to socials, you would have already seen Kendry Paez was spotted in Strasbourg as he was getting his trim done by a very popular barber known to the Strasbourg players. And you know what? When I saw that, it was kind of alluding to the fact that maybe we're potentially setting something up for this kid for next season. But the reality is, regardless of whether he goes on loan or not, expect to see him taking part in the Club World Cup this summer. But now, I want to have the conversation because even if Paez is good enough to remain with the squad, you guys let me know. Would this be the most responsible way to acclimatize into our football club? Because I think, as we've seen many a time, no matter how well you perform in training sessions, it is not enough to command first team minutes and first team football. I mean, you have players like Palmer in front of you, Andre Santos and other midfield players taking starting positions away from you in the team, alongside the fact that we are set to invest in signing another striker, another winger. Do you even get consistent minutes off the bench? Doesn't make the most sense. We've seen already with Maresca and with all managers, to keep it real, that when the seasons get to the real nitty and the real gritty stages, there's a massive reluctance towards using younger players unless you're forced to, unless the situation is that dire and that desperate. I mean, how often have Tyreek, George and Acheampong been given minutes in the league since? They haven't existed. And you can argue that Paez will have even stronger competition for one of those like starting midfield spots compared to guys like Tyreek and many others. After taking some time to think about this, if you want to know my opinion, I'm probably leaving Paez at Strasbourg for the next 2 seasons minimum. Strasbourg are a young, exciting squad with many like-minded characters. There's a lot of Spanish-speaking players there, so the acclimatization period is going to be that much easier, that much simpler, and that much safer considering the ties we have between both clubs, the incredible work Rosenau's doing already, the fact that stylistically demands expected off the ball, on the ball and tactically are completely different to what Paez would be used to now in Ecuador. This for me is the safest environment to keep him in and let him continue to get more access to more minutes in a pro youth league. At this point, I've seen it a million times, but I think development is a lot more important compared to hype. And if I'm Kendry, I'm turning towards what Santos has done with Strasbourg, and that's the earmark I'm placing for myself. So that's only my thoughts and opinions. How do you feel about the future of Kendry Paez? I think we can all agree on this, though. We have to really safeguard this kid and protect him and assure we do everything in our best possible power to make sure that he can achieve this potential, world-class potential he has in the making. And now let's discuss all the big reports now coming out from Germany. In a sense, this will be like a part A and part B because both stories tie. But to kick things off, let's talk Chukwuemeka, who had a very impactful game on his first proper start for Dortmund in their 4-1 win against Freiburg. On his first proper start for Dortmund, he scored his first Dortmund goal, and he excelled playing in his normal box-to-box role in Dortmund's 3-5-2 system they use to defeat Freiburg. Now, Carney has needed some time to adjust to life at Dortmund, considering the fact that his fitness levels were pretty poor, and that's for good reason because at Chelsea he got 144 minutes in the space of 7 games. That is criminal. After that game, Kovac said, "You can see why we signed him," and he did mention that he was only number 30 at Chelsea, but he still needs to improve physically, which you guys are seeing from the comp on screen right now. Outside of that, he's been praised by his Dortmund teammates. Adeyemi said he's a chill guy, very elegant, very technical. Kobel, the keeper, said, I think this guy could be a real difference maker for Dortmund in the future. So everyone's doing their part now to hopefully persuade Carney to remain, which seems very likely based on today's reports. What I liked after that game was that Carney was pretty humble and he said, listen, to be honest, I don't think I played that well, especially in the first half. He got a lot better in the second half. And you can kind of see that from the footage on screen. But listen, for a guy that's barely played, that hasn't got the regular access to minutes that he needs for his fitness, development and everything right now, it's a promising start. And it does seem like Dortmund believe in this kid's potential, because irrespective of whether they secure European football or not, they are not scared from committing to paying the 35 million euro buy option at the end of his loan spell. Now, they paid around 1 million euros just to sign him on loan first. So that's quite a bit of money for Dortmund considering their finances right now. They really believe in him. And Kovac, who is looking to remain at Dortmund, sees Carney as part of his long-term vision and plan. For the sake of Carney, because I rate this kid, I think he's a great guy, great player. I love him to cook at Dortmund. It's like one of the best finishing schools for top talents like him. And if he achieves his potential, injury permitting, it will be another reminder of how we've wasted his development. And it's another reminder behind how, you need to have a focused, core, concentrated group of young talents that you really invest in. You can't have 5 guys for like 2 positions and create this battle royale Hunger Games style model, because everyone actually loses out more than actually profiting and gaining from that. For a player that I think it was a bit disappointing that Enzo didn't give him real chances, but equally I can see why Enzo was in this position, because he had Nkunku and Felix forced on him, Dewsbury Hall forced on him, and this is the politics of life at the big clubs. The younger guy becomes the collateral damage. It's just how the game works when there is no focus on your plans. So how do you guys feel about this? Comment your opinions below. And this lets us end on the big report surrounding the future around Jamie Bynoe-Gittens, as Sky Germany have revealed, is confirmed now. Gittens is looking to leave Dortmund at the end of the season. He wants out. He's not happy with life at the club right now. There have been like these, reports around, dissatisfaction, maybe some petulance on the field at times, etc., which I'm going to completely tackle. We're going to have a serious conversation on Bynoe-Gittens, yeah? Going back to the reports, Dortmund originally hoped to earn around 100 million euros for Gittens when he was showing that really exciting form at the start of the season. But in my honest opinion, I've always thought, even though this kid, he has some great attributes to work with, he's a level below Ousmane Dembele's, your Bellinghams, a level below your Haalands. He is not on that same caliber of player to be commanding their type of transfer fees. So based on how the season's ending, with the fact the player wants to leave, Dortmund now are hoping to earn around 70 to 80 mil euros. Now this should put clubs in England on alert, where we can't forget, we made an official inquiry for Bynoe-Gittens in the January window. Bayern Munich are showing long-term interest in him and are potentially looking to him to help create more depth in their winger department, because guys like Coleman and co could be leaving them when the season ends. So that's the reports, but I want to talk the context and my personal thoughts on Bynoe-Gittens, because if you compare how his 2024 ended to how his 2025 has started, I mean, it's night and day, man. I don't think he's been that good in 2025. There's many reasons as to why. It's not black and white. So if you guys want to obviously hear the nuance, hopefully you stay right to the end. But there's a few things working against him. The main thing that's really hurt him, in my opinion, is that there was like a false pretense around the actual level he was at during his really exciting first half of the season form. You're thinking he was performing for Nuri Sahin's really disjointed Borussia Dortmund team. He was like the only real wide option they had at the time, because players like Adeyemi and co weren't really available. And being that unknown package, a player that there was no estimations around him being the key guy for Dortmund this season. It kind of just fell into place for him. Things aligned for him at the right moments. And obviously, he took the opportunity with both hands, showcasing to the rest of Europe, yo, there could be some real excitement potential around this kid's development and what he could become in the future. But going back to reality, naturally, when you're Dortmund's strongest outlet, teams will have tactical plans for you. And this is where, in my opinion, Gittens has been shown up in that sense. He's been shown up with his predictability in terms of his moveset. You know, a lot of times now, he is a turnover machine. He is constantly getting dispossessed. It's the same type of plays he's trying time and time again, non-stop cutting inside, non-stop cutting inside. And one of the difficulties he's naturally facing is that now there's two guys on him compared to all that space and one man being against him during the start of this season. And apply that to us. Our wingers 24/7 live against two guys on them time and time again. So I can't see Gittens being an upgrade to what we have at the moment. His minutes have been lacking, especially under Kovac. You know, he's introduced more of a back three setup. You've seen variations like 3-2-3-2. You've seen wingbacks introduced. You've seen adjustments made that don't center Bynoe-Gittens as the key guy anymore. And from these moments of difficulty, you also have to look at the development of the player. You can't just focus solely on the positives that they show, right? And in my opinion, if I was Gittens, it's a shame that maybe he's not feeling valued as much at Dortmund, but honestly, remaining there for the next 2 years minimum would have been key for his development to really showcase that consistent quality over time. I think he needs that. Now, the clubs who are looking at him include us and Bayern. Listen, I think at Bayern he would be another squad winger, and playing against his typical Bundesliga opponents would probably be best for him. But you'd imagine with Premier Clubs showing interest, your Liverpools and us in particular, something's there. But I don't know, man, for myself, ideally if you're signing the Gittens, you're signing him because he's going to be your number two alongside an established left winger. Yeah, I feel like you need to have a senior figure alongside him because I don't think he's there to be playing week in, week out, 90 minutes. He's a guy that will have a great 1 or 2 months and then be a bit indifferent as the season goes on. But it's cool because he's only just turned 21. I think you'll really see what he's about as he matures, as he develops. When he's on form, we've seen it. I mean, the ball's glued to his feet. The shooting ability, he's shown superb match-winning potential. You know, he was a real outlet for Dortmund during one of the difficult stages for them this season. That cannot be ignored. But equally, you can't ignore how he hasn't progressed off that exciting form in the second half of this year, how the manager isn't valuing him, how maybe he's a bit detrimental to the team due to his lack of defensive work rate, his predictability in terms of his moveset, and maybe the fact that naturally being a young guy who's kind of found himself in this position that he didn't expect to be in, you know, he's maybe overplaying, forcing moves, playing a bit too selfishly at times, which has really worked out against him in a stage where Dortmund now are hoping to climb up as close as they can to get a European spot. My thing is, if you're going for him, there is no way you are paying 70 to 80 mil euros. That is ridiculous money. I think regardless of the fact his contract expires in 2028, I think if you can sign him for half that amount, then he becomes a more viable option. I think maybe 40 mil euros is fair. And if that involves maybe including Chukwuemeka to soften the type of deal, I could understand that if it brings the overall cost all the way down. But for the money they want, 70, 80 mil for Bynoe-Gittens is outrageous considering your Leaos are closer to that fee. And there's more established quality left wingers that I think upgrade us more compared to the young, exciting potential that Gittens clearly does have. So, my guys, that's the reports today. Get involved in this conversation. Do you like the ideas of the stories? Do you not? There's a lot to unpack, I know, so I'm really curious to see everything you guys have to say. So comment away. I'll see you guys in a bit. Look after yourselves. And you know what? I'll let you guys know this, yeah. This has been the second day now that I've had no food because I'm doing like a water fast. This is for you guys who like stay right to the end. I did a water fast like a few years ago, like 3 years ago. And I felt like, you know what? I wanted to kind of not suffer exclusively, but I wanted to maybe like reset my gut. I wanted to get some of the health benefits from hitting the autophagy stage. I wanted to kind of maybe re-examine like my diet as well, have a bit more like structure and strength behind it to get better gym gains, all that type of stuff. So if you start seeing me looking like really thin over the next few days, you guys know what's going down. And if you want, I can keep giving you updates on what it's like going without food. You know, second day in, honestly, I thought I'd be starving, I'd be hungry, but like it's not been as bad as the first time. And it just makes me think to myself, hunger is kind of like a construct. You know, I don't know. Getting that discipline with my food is like one of the things I wanted. So, my guys, that's me out. See you in a bit. Cool.